Hazbin Hotel Season 2 is finally out, and the reception from fans seems to be all well and good so far. Most people I've heard talk about the new episodes say they're some of the best we've had yet, and I would be inclined to agree with them if it weren't for a couple glaring issues that sort of bog the experience down a bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a solid start for Season 2. Vox seems like a strong villain and a somewhat worthy adversary for our group. I actually do like his dynamic with the V's a little bit, but I do have some complaints that I'll get to later. But overall, I'm actually pretty excited to see where they go with them. However, the V's are not going to be the only focus of today's video. Instead, we're also going to talk about something and I'm sure many others found super interesting as well. So first of all, Serpentius got redeemed. We all remember that from Season 1, right? Or maybe you don't, because shows these days take so fucking long to release. Most of them have recaps at the beginning of each season because the previous one feels like a distant memory. But anyway, Serpentius is in heaven now. Yay! And for some reason unknown to man, Emily just didn't feel the need to tell Charlie that Pentius was alive at all, instead choosing to just let her and everyone else literally mourn their friend who sacrificed himself right in front of them for weeks on end, with them not knowing if he was okay or if his soul was just damned for all eternity. And also, while we're on the topic, why did they skip a month into the future anyway? I heard that Vizipop apparently said they did that to make the story feel more spaced out, instead of just cramming months of time into 8 episodes like they did last season, which is understandable, I guess, but I don't necessarily think we needed a time skip in order to achieve that. You could have just fixed the pacing going forward. Sure, the first season released during a time where we weren't exactly sure if we would get a Season 2, but since then we've had Season 3 and even Season 4 get announced, so that uncertainty is obviously no longer present within the current situation. So what gives? And also, that excuse doesn't make a whole lot of sense anyway. Like, how would skipping a month into the future help the story in any way? Wasn't that actually part of the problem before? If anything, all it does is muddy the waters even more because now there are several things that are unaccounted for. Like, what happened during that month off screen? Because we see the hotel flooding with guests, and from the looks of it, not a single person but Baxter actually checked in. So you mean to tell me that in all of that time, people just came and hung out and didn't actually check into the hotel at any point? It just doesn't really add up. I kind of feel like the decision to skip forward a month was made last minute because despite the characters repeatedly referring to the fact that a month has passed, what we're seeing feels way more like the direct aftermath of the extermination day, where everyone saw Adam get killed. I actually half expected the hotel to flood with guests at the end of Season 1, in order to help rebuild it after the battle. It would have just made way more sense and the pacing would have lined up way better. End of Season 1, we have a huge battle, then the beginning of Season 2 takes place directly after said battle, where the locals come and actually investigate the hotel. But instead, what we get is this messy time skip that actually causes more problems in the story than it fixes, like Serpentius being in heaven, for example. It just feels very strange that he would be locked up in chains for a month while they set up some sort of trial for him, but then when we actually get to said trial, everyone except Sarah and Emily acts super surprised like this is the first time they've ever seen him. Like he literally just got there, despite them clearly stating several times that he's been there the entire time for the past 30 days. And I think the biggest problem with this choice is actually something I mentioned earlier. Why in the hell does Emily never tell Charlie that Pentius is in heaven until the end of episode 1? She was literally there when Charlie was trying to talk to the Seraphims about redemption, and they said it could never happen. And now it's proven to be true right before their very eyes, and not once did Emily think to even hint to Charlie that the one mission she's had and questioned for centuries is actually successful. Like, it just never crossed her mind at all. This whole 720-hour experience just never entered entered her brain that was an option. That's just incredible. I mentioned before that I had a few criticisms about the V's as a group, and after watching episodes 1 and 2 a second time, I actually think they're taking these characters in a weird direction. The very first song that we hear in the new series, and even the second one, has Vox expressing his desire to rule both heaven and hell, trying to pitch this idea to the rest of the V's in order to have them take over with him. But there's just one glaring problem with that. Vox is Alistair's rival. He's been set up since season 1 to have some sort of questionable history with Alistair, to the point where they hold great amounts of animosity towards each other. Some theorize they're in a relationship, others say they led a cult together or something weird like that, but nonetheless, they do have a significant enough history for the writers to feel some need to point it out. Hell, Vox's entire introduction saw him outraged at Alistair's unexpected return, and even Valentino points out the fact that Vox may have actually lost a previous battle with Alistair. Why do I bring all this up? Well, if Vox is planning to be the supposed ruler of heaven and hell, and he can't even beat the person that got absolutely wrecked by Adam with literally a single strike at the end of season 1, how does he actually expect to take over heaven? Even with the help of the other V's, how does he genuinely expect to last more than 1 minute with all the seraphims and exterminators in heaven? Even if we play devil's advocate here and assume that they recruit the entirety of hell's population to help out in this dethroning, I really feel like they have no idea how little of a chance they really stand against heaven's army. And now that I think about it, where does Vox even get the idea that he's the ruler of hell? He alludes to this in both of the songs he's in, and he behaves as though he has like presidential status in hell. But there's obviously two major problems with that. Number one, we should probably address the huge elephant in the room, that being the sister show Helluvaboss, that shows that hell is actually divided into 7 rings stacked on top of each other, with the Pride ring, the one Hazbin Hotel resides in, being at the very top. So even if we were to assume that Vox is somehow able to make it to the other rings despite it being established that sinners can't leave the Pride ring, there are still overlords far more powerful than him, namely Satan, and I would even argue Ozzy, who, just to clarify, is literally the weakest of the 7 deadly sins. Unless he got way stronger since his last off-screen fight with Alistair, I really don't see him doing much other than just maybe getting up there and then realizing he's screwed immediately. And also, I don't really think him selling a lot of products in these rings and him having a huge business really equates to him being the ruler of hell. I mean, even if we forget everything I just said, we still have Lucifer, who Vox is obviously well aware of. So I don't really know what he's yapping about here. There's only one real conceivable way I could ever see him succeeding in this plan, and it's if he somehow smuggles his way into heaven while Charlie and the main gang are all preparing to leave, and then jumps out mid-fight to steal some magical artifact or something that gives him the powers of God while everyone's distracted fighting. But with Vox being as beloved a character as he is in the community, I expect they want him to be more than just a joke villain. So we'll probably either see him get stronger over time, recruit stronger members of the cast that already have it out for the members of the hotel, like maybe Lilith or Loot.
The hell's a loot?
Or he could try to pull a Serpentius and fake his way in by acting like he wants to be redeemed. Although I could totally predict Alistair seeing right through that charade if that outcome were to happen. What I would love to see is a team up between Vox and Loot, because then she could give him connection to Lilith, which could act as their wild card in this scenario since we really still have no idea what Lilith is capable of yet. And also, something else that I bet has a huge probability of happening is Loot somehow being killed in the big fight with the main crew, and in the process coming back as a demon. Fans made a lot of predictions that Adam would actually come back in season 2 in a new demon form. But with him already being shown to be fully gone and imagined by Loot, I could totally see this happening to her instead. And even if we make the argument that heaven-born angels aren't from Earth and therefore can't become sinners, I could still see her becoming a fallen angel, much like what happened with Lucifer. Maybe she continues to escalate her plans to kill all the demons, and in doing so, Sarah and the others see it as treason like they said they would, and threaten her with death. But perhaps in that moment, Emily comes in to play peacemaker and convinces them to give her a lighter punishment, which causes Loot to be banished instead, becoming a fallen angel, leaving her no other choice but to accept that redemption may be possible and to give it a try herself. And if she doesn't, then she can live as the very thing she was disgusted by the most for all eternity. But I have a feeling the series will end with everyone on the same side, and perhaps the two realms being being open to one another as a result, with the residents of both realms finally being able to live in harmony once and for all thanks to the Princess of Hell. And also, with Helvaboss confirmed to be crossing over, it would be super cool to see both stories somehow merge together in some sort of significant way. But with there only being 2 episodes of Season 2 out so far, it seems we have quite a ways to go before anything super groundbreaking happens. I mean, we still haven't even heard Lilith talk yet, but in the meantime, we can always keep theorizing. And one of these days, if we make enough theories, some of them will turn out to be true, eventually. But anyway, guys, if you agree with anything I said in today's video, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss future videos. Also, while you're down there, why not leave a comment and let me know what you think is gonna happen in the next couple episodes. I always love to hear all your theories. Alright everyone, that's gonna be it from me. I love every single one of you with all my heart. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.